Ruramai knew that dating and relationships can be hard for people who are HIV positive. There was no denying that many had trouble finding a life partner, but on the other hand, there was no denying that many others were happily married, some of whom had married negative partners. Ruramai believed that everyone deserves to love and be loved, whether HIV positive or not, so HIV was not going to confine her to living single. In her opinion, true love transcends an HIV diagnosis. She asserted that HIV had not shattered her chance to fall in love, get married, and have children, and she looked forward to finding that special someone who would love her unconditionally. From their first date, it was clear that Ruramai and Mzimba were meant for each other. Their relationship grew in leaps and bounds, and when it got serious, Ruramai decided that it was time to disclose her HIV status. This was going to be very difficult and uncomfortable, and she realized that Mzimba's response could be either of two scenarios. He could either choose to accept her and to love her despite her status, because love is not conditional. But on the other hand, there was a possibility that he could reject her. One afternoon, when Ruramai and Mzimba had a picnic at a beautiful park, she decided to bring the subject of HIV into their conversation to gauge Mzimba's views towards HIV. She began by making up a story that her friend was in love with a guy who wanted to settle down with her. However, her friend stalled disclosing her status to her boyfriend because she feared being rejected. She then asked Mzimba what advice he would give to her friend and what he would do if he were in her friend's boyfriend's shoes. Mzimba thought for a moment and then stated that it was not easy to disclose one's HIV status because a lot of people stigmatized and discriminated against people living with HIV. But his opinion was that Ruramai's friend had a moral obligation to disclose her status. He felt that upfront disclosure was better because he regarded this as a sign of honesty, love, and trust, and felt that putting it off could cause problems later. To answer her question of what his reaction would be if he were in the shoes of her friend's boyfriend, Mzimba's response was that he would not react badly to the news but rather continue to love her and offer her support because she was not defined by HIV. Mzimba's words raised Ruramai's confidence, and she looked him in the eye and told him that she was HIV positive. The seconds that ticked by as Ruramai anxiously waited for Mzimba's response felt like an eternity. It was the sweetest words that Ruramai had ever heard when Mzimba held her in his arms and responded that he loved her unconditionally. She was happy beyond measure, and she felt a flood of both happiness and relief that her worst fear of rejection had been lifted off her shoulders. During the ensuing months, Mzimba researched HIV and was educated on what living with HIV means. He learned that nowadays, people living with HIV can maintain an undetectable viral load thanks to antiretroviral therapy, meaning that they can't transmit the virus to their partner through sex, and that this is referred to as U=U, which means undetectable equals untransmutable. He also learned that many couples now have marriages where one partner is HIV positive and the other HIV negative, and that HIV positive women can have HIV negative children. Fast forward 10 years and Ruramai and Mzimba's positive love story has inspired a lot of people. They are one of many serodiscordant couples in Zimbabwe, are happily married and are blessed with 2 HIV negative children.